The final transmission from Earth lasted only 12 seconds. Across every known star system, alien observers watched the blue planet disappear beneath oceans of plasma as the combined armadas of the Galactic Dominion unleashed enough firepower to erase a civilization forever. Cities became ash, continents cracked apart, satellites rained into the atmosphere, and the human homeworld was declared lifeless. The Galactic Senate celebrated. Humanity, they announced, had become the first intelligent species in recorded history to be completely exterminated. Memorial beacons were placed where Earth had once orbited the Sun, warning future generations never to repeat humanity's reckless defiance. Every history book recorded the same words: extinct. Centuries passed. New empires rose while old ones vanished. The Dominion expanded across thousands of galaxies, believing the age of war had ended forever. But deep beyond mapped space, beyond black holes that swallowed light itself, beyond the fractured boundary known as the Rift of Eternity, something impossible was happening. During humanity's final days, a classified project called Chronos Fleet had activated. Earth's greatest scientists had combined experimental faster-than-light drives with temporal field generators built from technology recovered beneath Antarctica decades earlier. The fleet's mission had been simple: if Earth fell, escape beyond time itself. No one expected the engines to malfunction. Instead of traveling across space, the entire fleet vanished outside normal reality. To the galaxy, they disappeared in an instant. To the crews aboard those ships, 10,000 years passed. They drifted through a dimension where stars were born like sparks, civilizations rose and collapsed within hours, and strange cosmic beings whispered the mathematics of creation itself. Humanity did not merely survive there, they evolved. Their engineers learned to forge battleships from neutron stars. Their scientists discovered how to fold dimensions into armor. Their children grew up navigating rivers of time instead of oceans. They were no longer refugees. They became something the universe had never witnessed, a civilization shaped by eternity itself. Then, without warning, the Chronos engine stabilized. The fleet returned. To them, only moments had passed since their last view of Earth. To the galaxy, 10,000 years had vanished. Admiral Elena Ward stepped onto the bridge of the flagship Aegis Eternal and stared silently at the navigation display. Earth was gone. The solar system was occupied by mining stations bearing the insignia of the Dominion. The moon had been hollowed into a weapons factory. Mars had become an alien prison colony. Around the command deck, officers sat frozen as archived broadcasts flooded the screens. They watched recordings of Earth's destruction. Families they had left behind. Cities they had loved. Everything reduced to dust. Silence filled the bridge until Elena finally spoke 3 words. Set battle stations. Across the fleet, billions of human sailors repeated the order. Massive vessels larger than moons emerged from shimmering fractures in reality. Their hulls glowed with impossible symbols carved by time itself. Dominion sensors detected the arrivals immediately, but their computers rejected the readings as corrupted data. Thousands of unidentified objects had materialized inside protected territory without crossing hyperspace. Patrol cruisers moved to investigate. Their captain transmitted the standard warning. Unknown vessels. Identify yourselves. A calm female voice answered. United Earth Chronos Fleet. We are here to reclaim our home. The patrol captain laughed. Earth? Humanity has been extinct for 10,000 years. Elena's reply echoed through every frequency. Your records are incorrect. Before another word could be spoken, every patrol ship simply stopped. Their engines froze. Their weapons remained suspended in firing position. Even explosions halted mid-air. Time itself had been paused within a 1,000-kilometer radius. Human boarding teams walked calmly through frozen space, disabled every hostile vessel, rescued imprisoned slaves found aboard, and departed. Seconds later time resumed. Dominion crews found themselves drifting powerless, every weapon dismantled without a single casualty. Panic spread instantly. Emergency councils gathered across the galaxy. Historians insisted humanity was impossible. Scientists claimed the sensor data violated every law of physics. Military leaders dismissed the reports until entire fortress systems began falling without battles. Human fleets ignored planetary defenses by simply arriving yesterday, destroying weapons before they had ever fired. Time had become their battlefield. Admiral Vexor, Supreme Commander of the Dominion, assembled the largest armada in galactic history, over 60 million warships. Every empire answered his call. Humanity would be erased a second time. Near the ruins of Earth's orbit, both fleets finally met. Alien ships stretched across millions of kilometers like metallic oceans. Against them stood barely 12,000 human vessels. Dominion officers smiled confidently. Numerical superiority had never been greater. Admiral Vexor transmitted one final message. History will remember this as humanity's final mistake. Elena looked at the stars through the observation window. History belongs to those who survive it. She raised one hand. Activate temporal dominion. Across every human vessel, ancient engines awakened. Reality bent. Time fractured into countless overlapping streams. Alien crews suddenly watched impossible visions. Human ships existed everywhere simultaneously, past, present, and future. Destroying one merely revealed another. Missiles struck enemies before launch. Lasers arrived before charging. Entire fleets vanished because, from humanity's perspective, those battles had already been won thousands of years earlier. Within 17 minutes the greatest armada ever assembled ceased to exist. Millions surrendered. Millions more fled. None escaped. Yet humanity did not seek revenge through genocide. Instead, they liberated conquered worlds, dismantled slave empires, restored destroyed ecosystems, and rebuilt civilizations crushed beneath Dominion rule. Everywhere they arrived, people expected conquerors but found protectors. News spread rapidly. Humanity had returned, not as monsters, but as guardians. Then archaeologists uncovered something even more terrifying. Earth's destruction had never been the Dominion's decision. Hidden records buried beneath the Senate revealed an ancient prophecy left by a civilization older than the universe itself. It warned that one species would eventually master time and reshape existence. Terrified, the founders of the Dominion had attempted to destroy humanity before that destiny could unfold. They had failed. Because their attack had created the very future they feared. Without Earth's destruction, the Chronos Fleet would never have entered the timeless realm. Without exile, humanity would never have evolved. The prophecy had fulfilled itself. Standing upon the restored surface of Earth, beneath a sky filled once more with oceans and forests recreated through temporal reconstruction, Admiral Elena addressed representatives from every surviving civilization. 10,000 years ago you declared humanity extinct. Today we offer something different from revenge. Join us. Build a galaxy where no species fears another. Most accepted. Those who refused quietly disappeared into history. Centuries later, children across countless worlds studied the day of return. They learned how arrogance had destroyed an empire and how compassion had built a civilization spanning time itself. Above Earth floated the Chronos Fleet, not as instruments of war, but as eternal guardians. Their ships watched over the stars, ensuring no civilization would ever again face extinction simply because it was different. And carved into the entrance of the Galactic Assembly, where every visitor could read it, were the words that forever changed history: never declare humanity extinct, until you've searched beyond time. For nearly 2 centuries after the day of return, the galaxy knew peace unlike anything recorded in history. Trade routes stretched safely across millions of light years. Former enemies built cities together. Worlds once stripped bare by war bloomed again beneath skies restored by human temporal engineering. The United Earth Alliance refused to rule as conquerors. The first warning came from the Chronos Observatory positioned at the edge of known reality. Every clock aboard the station stopped simultaneously. Not because time had frozen, but because time itself had disappeared. Entire sectors of space simply ceased to possess a past or future. Stars flickered out without exploding. Planets vanished without leaving debris. Even light failed to remember where it had been. Before communications ended, the station transmitted one final message. It isn't destroying the universe, it's erasing its history. Within minutes, every human fleet entered maximum alert. Admiral Elena Ward, now physically over 10,000 years old but appearing no older than 40 thanks to temporal biology, stood once again upon the bridge of the Aegis Eternal. Around her, tactical displays refused to calculate enemy positions because the enemy existed outside every known timeline. Human scientists finally gave the phenomenon a name. The Null Sovereign. According to the oldest records recovered during humanity's exile beyond time, the Null Sovereign was older than space itself. Before the first atom formed, before gravity existed, it had ruled an empty reality where nothing ever changed. Creation itself had been an accident, an explosion of possibility that trapped the Sovereign outside existence. For billions of years it waited, unable to return while time flowed normally. Humanity's mastery of temporal physics had weakened that prison. Now the Sovereign was coming home. Entire galaxies disappeared overnight. Refugee fleets arrived carrying impossible stories. Some claimed their civilizations had never existed. Others remembered two completely different histories at once. Children spoke languages no one had ever invented. Ancient monuments displayed names of heroes who had never been born. Reality was unraveling. Emergency councils demanded humanity use the Chronos Fleet to destroy the entity immediately. Elena refused. "You cannot destroy something older than destruction," she said quietly. "First we must understand it." While politicians argued, exploration vessel Odyssey 7 volunteered to enter the expanding null zone. Millions watched the live transmission. The ship crossed the boundary. Every star vanished. Beyond the edge existed an endless white ocean with no horizon, no gravity, and no passage of time. Floating within that impossible emptiness stood a single figure larger than planets, woven from darkness so complete that even thought seemed to disappear while observing it. When it spoke, every translator in the galaxy produced the same sentence. "You should not exist." Captain Amir Hassan answered calmly. "We hear that often." The Sovereign laughed. The sound erased 3 nearby constellations. "You escaped extinction. You escaped time. But nothing escapes the beginning." Without moving, it reached toward the Odyssey. Human sensors screamed as every moment of the ship's history began unraveling. Crew members watched themselves grow younger, then older, then unborn. The vessel's hull shifted through thousands of designs it might have possessed. Then something unexpected happened. The Chronos core deep within the ship reacted. Instead of collapsing, it absorbed the attack. Because humanity no longer belonged to one timeline. 10,000 years beyond time had changed them forever. The Sovereign paused. For the first time since before creation. It was surprised. Across the galaxy, every Chronos engine activated automatically. Not by command. By instinct. Human ships, stations, satellites, even civilian transports, began resonating together. Millions of temporal reactors synchronized into a single harmonic frequency. The stars themselves responded. Scientists stared in disbelief. The universe was helping humanity. Ancient equations hidden inside the laws of physics revealed themselves. Space, time, gravity, and light were not merely forces. They were defenses. The universe had been preparing for this battle since the Big Bang. Earth's lost fleet had never been an accident. It had been chosen. Deep beneath the restored Himalayas, sealed behind layers of quantum stone, a forgotten chamber opened for the first time in 10,000 years. Inside rested a device no human remembered building. Its surface bore a single inscription. Project Origin. Authorized for activation only when the first enemy returns. Admiral Elena entered the chamber alone. As her hand touched the ancient console, lights awakened one by one. A voice older than humanity filled the chamber. "Welcome home, Commander." Elena frowned. "I've never been here before." The AI answered softly. "Not yet." The room displayed a recording. It showed Elena herself. Older. Far older. Standing inside the same chamber. I know this doesn't make sense, the future Elena said. If you're watching this, then the Null Sovereign has returned exactly as history recorded. Listen carefully. We never defeated it with the Chronos Fleet. She paused. We defeated it by becoming the civilization that created the Chronos Fleet in the first place. The recording ended. Silence filled the chamber. Elena slowly realized the impossible truth. Humanity had not merely traveled through time. They had become part of a closed loop stretching across the lifetime of the universe itself. Somewhere in humanity's future, millions of years ahead, their descendants had engineered the very events that saved their ancestors. Earth's lost fleet had not simply returned from beyond time. It had returned because humanity itself had become the architects of history. And as alarms echoed across every human world, the Chronos Fleet prepared for one final journey, not across the stars, but to the very beginning of existence, where the first battle of the universe had never truly ended.